Waiting on to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Thank you.
Sing anything, and sing it better than most people. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome, Unity of Boulder. Still operating, still in full swing here, helping to get the word out to people that we are all in this together. Don't feel alone and lost, and unity will bring you together. That's what unity is about. It's the unity community. And of course, you'll want to vote. If you haven't voted yet, make a plan. You're going to vote. Get your vote in. It's important. That's what we do here. I'd like to tell you about something, though. This is a week to be focused on agreement. Getting into agreement with things that maybe aren't you fully involved in, but learn how to agree and get along. This week we have to hold those thoughts about agreement throughout the week. So we are told this is a very meaningful week from those psychically oriented sages that say from October 29th to the 11th of November, we are going to be in a real mix of stuff that we have to learn how to rise and carry into agreement. So agreement is an important thing. Today's message will be very important for you. If you're watching, you can take a moment now to text a friend, say, tune into Unity of Boulder, because they're always topical. They're always on the cutting edge of spirituality. One thing we will know from this day on is that the media and the technology of media is too much in our heads. We have to find a way to have time to get in touch with that deep, intuitive, guiding soul awareness that is necessary for us if we're going to bring this planet back into harmony and peace. So be involved with that. It's what we do. We are unity. Okay.
Good morning. Let us take a moment now for prayer. And to do this, we need to make room for Spirit. And we make room for Spirit first with our attention. We can focus on our breath. So do this now. And we can make space for Spirit by relaxing our bodies, by letting go. And we can make space for Spirit with our minds by letting go of the concerns. In this moment, let go of the world. For it is when we let go of our worldview and our world concerns that we can hear God's view. When we let go of our view, we can hear God's view. And having made that space for Spirit, we remember. We can remember that we are loved unconditionally. that space, we can remember and feel that we are whole and we are complete, just as we are right now. And we can remember that we are guided, we are supported, we are protected. Feel this love and feel this power. Because when we spend that time and space, when we make that space, we feel divine power. We are infused with divine power and peace. Feel that now in a few moments of silence. Thank you, God, for your unconditional love, your power, and your presence within us. We are so grateful. Thank you, God, for all your infinite blessings. And to this we say, Amen.
Good morning. Sorry to keep people waiting. Happy November, everybody. It's November 1st. We're 2 days before a big election. I'm sure everybody feels a little bit of that tension in the air. So we thought this would be a good song to play. Good morning or evening, friends. Here's your friendly announcer. I have some serious news to pass on to everybody. What I'm about to say mean the world's disaster. To change your joy to laughter, yes, and your tears to pain. It's in love, is in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Yeah. ordinary measures. If love and peace treasure, then you'll hear me when I say, is it love? Is it need of love today? Don't delay, send yours in right away. Yes, hate is going round, it's breaking many hearts. Stop it, people, before it's gone too far. I said love is in need of love today. Yeah, don't delay, send yours in right away. Well, hey, yeah, hey, it's going round, it's breaking many hearts. Stop it, people, before it's gone too far. Thank you very much. It's an old Stevie Wonder song, but I've been hearing it a lot lately, and it really pertains. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity today, and welcome everyone on live stream who's joining us. So I just wanted to start by connecting with the energy that's in the world right now and speak to that today. I think if there's anything that we need to do for this next hour is to leave the world outside the doors of this center and gift ourselves this hour of connection with this greater power, this greater love we call God, Source, Spirit, whatever word makes you feel connected to this greater mystery, this greater love. And I wanted to talk about, there was a time when Myrtle Fillmore, who's the co-founder of Unity, talks about how she went to go see a talk with Charles Fillmore when she was dealing with tuberculosis and she was extremely sick. And when she was at the talk, she had heard in the talk the words, "I am a child of God, and so therefore I do not inherit illness or sickness." And when she left with the 6 people that she was sitting in the audience observing this talk, she said that those words had changed her life. It was like a lightning bolt came through her body, and all of a sudden there was a light that was turned on in her, and she realized that she could affirm that for her physical body, and she went on to heal herself. And that's what really gave her the power, where people went to her and they prayed with her. And she really is, they say, the heart of Unity, because she discovered that she could heal herself. And it was from those words that she could use to bring into her body every time she felt the fear or the disconnect from this greater power, that she has the ability to affirm this greater something, which I think many of us are trying to affirm all sorts of things for our own lives, so that we may be conduits for something greater, something that we would like to see for this world. And the thing that was interesting is that the 6 people that she walked out with never heard those words in that seminar. And I've experienced that a lot as a public speaker. After I will give a sermon, or somebody will follow up with an email or something with me, they'll say, "When you said this, it just transformed my entire life." And I'm looking at them like, I don't remember that ever even crossing the topic of what was going on. I could look through my sermons and like, what? When did I say that? And I think it comes down to the reality that we only observe that which is within us, right? So anything that I'm going to cover today will be a completely different experience for each one of us due to what you're coming in with from your own experience today. So I just wanted to start and kind of talk about spirit guides. I'm going to be talking about the unseen realms, how we can call on greater energies to bring more love and more peace into our lives. Obviously, we're in an extreme spell where, I was talking last week, that our souls are evolving at a catapult speed, and many of us are kind of getting taken off by the storm and feeling unsettled, fearful, disconnected, lonely because of COVID, you name it. But what it comes down to is, how are we calling in this greater power to keep us in a connected state, a connected place? So therefore, we're not being taken off by the storm, but we're utilizing this energy. We're actually accessing this energy, bringing it into our beings, and using it for our greater evolvement, our greater unfoldment of that which our souls have chosen to do in this lifetime, right? So I'd like you to just visualize, just close your eyes and get comfortable in your seat and call in your spirit guides, or if there's a main spirit guide that comes in your dreams, or a voice that you hear every once in a while, or if it's a mother or a father that has passed from sight at this point but is still with you, to just ask this energy that's supporting you during this time to place their hands, they're standing behind you right now, and placing their hands on your shoulders. And just breathing in that love. Recognizing that this energy is with you every minute, every hour of the day. To breathe in that love and recognize that you are not alone going through this time. Ancestral beings, angels, spirit guides, spirit as the greater whole is just pulsating through your body to bring the calm, the relief, and the peace that all of us so desire at this time. And just let that just be with you during the service. And whatever message that you're seeking in your life, may it come to you today. And it may not come through the words that I'm going to share today. It may come through your own wisdom, your own heart connection. And be in a state of allowance. Spirit, I'm in a state of allowance for this peace, for this love, for this answer to this question I've been holding in my life, to be able to leave here more free, to build the wings that I want to meet this new world that is coming as a whole picture of what I've been put here to do and be as co-creator. So my talk title today is The Ego in the Present Moment. If you remember, Jesus said, "You are in the world, but not of it." The ego, without activating its God positioning system, will get caught up in the dramas of the worldly and will tire and can lead to self-destructive behaviors. Today, I want to talk about those behaviors today. Much of my counseling recently has been around overdoing the things of the world, almost grasping on the things of the outer world to somehow patch up the holes that are being shown to us that live within us. So that's overeating sugar, that's substances, that's over shopping, that's spending money you don't have, putting yourself in debt, you name it. You know what that is. Everybody knows what that thing is that you're running to and giving more power to as a God instead of actually giving that power to this greater something, leaning into this greater vibrational energy that can carry you through all discord and disorientation, what we're all going through. I like this slide, and it's from a newsletter that went out by Tama Keeves, and she says this: "Ready for a life of freedom. I have always craved freedom. It's why I pursued an authentic life, but it's meant I've had to go off the map. Of course, I imagined that finding myself would be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I thought it would be like riding an escalator once you found your right step. But turns out it's a way of life. The world never stops shouting or posturing in ways that muffle wisdom. It's easy to lose touch. It's like dropping an earring at a rambunctious party. I have to hunt for the glint of gold again. Normal people peer at me strangely. Still, I search. Because only I know what is missing." That's what I'm talking about with what I was just talking about. Because only I know what is missing. A life of reaching the highest expression of my potential requires continuous focus and choice. I may not know exactly what I'm looking for, but I always know when something's missing. So many of us could point outside of ourselves of all the things that are going wrong that can excuse us for reaching things that we know are destructive for ourselves and for what we want to create in this world. So I wanted to give you an opportunity today to make an intention for yourself. Last Monday, Mike and I, after the sermon I gave last week, and I shared how there was this powerful energy that was going to be happening between October 31st, which is yesterday, till November 11th. I know we've all been waiting for November 3rd and the election, and we think that, oh, everything will change when the election happens, regardless of who you voted for, and I'm not going to speak to that up here. But there's an evolvement happening for this planet and for this world, regardless of whatever leadership gets voted in, and I'm sure we're all very, very attached to what we voted for. However, in the big picture, if we believe in the divine and that the divine's nature is always in and through everything, then the universe is honorable. And regardless if we think that one person can actually change all of the upheaval that is going on in this world, we really can't give that much power to one person. And to learn how to find a place of peace in the midst of this moment, right? Today, it's like, oh, it's 2 days away. How's it going to be? I mean, that's the kind of phone calls. I just don't know. What would I do if this happened? And it's just, oh, yeah. I'm going to get so stressed out. And I'm going to add that pent-up frustration to a world that's already freaking out. So there's this October 31st, which is a blue moon, full moon, which is heading into this 11/11/2020, which is going to be a heightened energy. It's ruled by Scorpio, which we all know Scorpio is the Scorpio stinger. I talked about that last week. But on a more evolved level, the scorpion is also the eagle. So an approach of the awakened person sees from the eagle point of view that everything is coming out from underneath the carpet right now. Everything will be revealed in the next 10 or so days. So Mike and I decided we were going to go on a cleanse last Monday to get clear before we started Saturday, which was yesterday. And I wanted to be more in tune with my spirit guides. I wanted to be more awake, more fresh, more able to be audible to whatever is guiding and directing, and make a commitment. So I was going to ask you guys to make an intention for yourself, something that you would like to plant a seed this moment to birth into your own personal life. And think about it and like contemplate it for a second right now, just to sit with it. We've all been pent up. We've all had COVID with this, in our presence, not necessarily all physically had COVID, but lived the experience of not going to the same restaurants, not being able to do our jobs the same way, not being able to interact with our friends the same way, just all of it. And it's looking like we may be heading back into that isolation again. And are we going to learn? Are we going to get to the point where we take this time of internal observation and clear out truly the things that no longer serve our human physical being and our spiritual being, right? And so I'm thinking about, what does the intention mean? I mean, many have found coping skills, like eating sugar, drinking alcohol, taking more of their prescription drugs, running to stores, all of those things. These are things that people do. It's the lower nature, human way of handling life that we think something can actually make us feel better that lives outside of ourselves. So this would be a really good time for us to look at what God can bring to our lives. God as protector, as sustainer, as the wisdom. This is a time where we are evolving, or we could not evolve. We could choose to just stay stagnant and keep reaching for the things that give us temporary relief, but in the end, there's always something on the other side of that temporary relief that causes guilt, shame, fear, and disconnection. Or we can just face ourselves and the limitation that something outside of ourselves can bring us the peace that Spirit can bring us, right? So by making an intention, you're pulling yourself out of the hamster wheel, that distracted wheel that we can just keep going and not actually face what truly is happening in ourselves. And then we observe from the ego point of view. And we discover what truly is important and what is not. What is destructive and what is empowering. What is calling you to make a change? And what you haven't changed from the inner call within you. Like that thing that's just like, I know I have to do this, I know I have to do this, I knew it, but I don't want to do that because that's going to take major focus and it's going to be hard because I'm used to doing this. I'm used to doing this thing that makes me feel more comfortable through the hard stuff, and yet I don't trust that the universe could support me, and maybe it won't be as hard as my mind has made it out to be. That hard conversation you have to have with your spouse, or that hard conversation you have to have with your boss, or that hard situation to face that I don't want to do that. I don't want to put that substance in my body anymore so that I feel disconnected from everyone, everything, but most importantly, myself. To get in control of the spiritual mind, which is the heart, that it can move in and through us and give us greater power than you could ever know. If you would just let it. And you'd also have to have faith that there's something greater at hand in all that is happening right now. You are the only one that knows what that is. And you are the only one that can tell yourself the truth about it. So what if you took the next 11 days, the time between the blue full moon on October 11th through November 11th, which is being said to be a very intense time for the evolution of consciousness and the earth. The end of the old and the beginning of the new, which is also being predicted as a time of adrenaline and anger for those who are not awakened. Have any of you seen an outpicturing in the world already that's showing that energy? I yesterday saw so many aggressive little interactions at grocery stores and in a car situation, and it was like, whoa, this is really happening. And it was interesting to observe that we are all vibrational beings. And there is an astrological thing that's happening right now, and even in the midst of this, we can observe it, but we don't have to be it. We can step out of it and observe it, because we've chosen to be in our spiritual power and trust that we don't have to sign up with this vibrational discord that's happening, which is what is bringing everything out from underneath the rug that needs to be seen. The truth has to be seen for us to be able to heal it. But that's why you're also seeing aggression in people, because people don't want to see their own truth. So they're aggressive because they want to fight what's happening out in the world because they don't want to feel what's happening inside of them. Again, the universe is honorable. So if we allow ourselves to be with the uncomfortable silence for deeper wisdom to come into our life. So when we go to reach for that drink or that bag of cookies or get online and spend money we do not have to spend, to ask the spirit guides before we go to bed, please, God, help me not go to my lower nature and just let this be a default power in my life anymore. I ask you to give me the strength to recognize when I'm about to grab this thing that has been taking my joy and my happiness and my health and my peace away from me. And when I'm grabbing for that thing, help me put it back. And be with the feeling that I'm feeling when I'm grabbing that thing that I've been making my God more than you, God. And let me be with that desperate silence and discover what is inside of me, where it comes from, where that voice lives inside of me. And we're not here to stick energy and keep it in our bodies, which most of us do and get kind of angry and stuff because we just keep it stuck. We're supposed to move our emotions. When we feel that moment, when we stop ourselves in something that we've done over and over and over for years, which is the bad habit, to give ourselves this temporary peace, when you sit and you go, I want to feel what is causing me or driving me to do this thing that I know I don't want to do anymore in my life, to hold your heart and remind yourself that you are enough without this. If you feel rage or you feel tears coming on, feel it. It's the avoiding. We do these things to stifle the actual emotions that are behind the thing that's causing us to grab for these things, to distract ourselves from the power that lives within each and every one of us. And today can be the beginning of the rest of your life. Just by merely recognizing the actions that lead you down the path of darkness and suffering and disconnection. This could be unhealed relationships with your children. This could be unhealed relationships with your spouse. This is the not saying what is your truth and becoming authentically, freely who you are. Because there's nothing you have to defend, because you're perfect. You've been made in the image and likeness of this love. And the only one that's disrespecting you is you. And your lack of self-love for you. And today we can make an intention. And we can change that. My family, my whole life, every year in the summer we would go on road trips for a month. And we would pack up our Volkswagen van, and we had different Volkswagen vans through the years as we evolved and got bigger, but they're always still the VW bus with no air conditioning, with like that massive like gear shift, and it went like 40 miles an hour with all of it loaded in there. And my parents would always say, we'd say, where are we going? And my dad would say, well, we're just going wherever the car takes us. And it was always such an adventure, you know, and luckily my parents didn't have the addiction of us all being on cell phones and iPads, and we were homeschooled kids that played in nature and were raised in, you know, just looking for fairies and gnomes and believing in everything esoteric and spiritual and beautiful, and it was an amazing childhood. But the first few days, regardless if we were addicted to iPads or cell phones, and I talk about this because I have 3 children and I'm, facing that reality, it was hard. Regardless if you were leaving the stresses of life, we weren't leaving the stresses of life, our parents were, so I don't think it was necessarily hard for them, but for us it was like, I'm not going to see my friends. And I don't have my buddies in my neighborhood. And I'm now stuck with my brothers, which, I was stuck with my brothers because we're being homeschooled anyway. I was pretty tired of them as it was. And those first few days, there was a lot of bickering and a lot of yelling, for us to calm down because we were like hitting that pinnacle of, I'm attached to the way that life is and now I have to let it go. And I was like a little kid. We do that even as children. We're already attached to the way each day goes, and all of a sudden now you're just picked up and it's a free-for-all, and it's all under the leadership of your maternal gods, which are mom and dad. But after a few days, something sunk in. Time left. And we were no longer part of that daily rhythm of Mondays dance class, Wednesdays, flute lessons, and, we had lots of instrument and voice and dance and all that stuff every day. And before you knew it, you were laying on a hammock by a river, and there was nothing weird about staring at it for 2 hours with not a thought crossing your mind. And I think about that time, like as a child, how hard it was to let go of the outer things. But now with the pace of the world and the pace that we're being asked to step into right now is insane. It's insanity. And the way that everybody can access us, I was thinking, my husband and I were not together for like a few hours yesterday, and I swear, I think we talked like 4 times. Within 2 hours, we can't not negotiate something about life for 2 hours. I can't just be driving with the kids. We still check in. It's like, what did husbands and wives do before? I think they could not see each other for a day and manage all the busyness of their life, but with Halloween and running a church and the musicians and all the things that are happening here, I can't really ever disconnect my life from here. There's never just Halloween and getting my kids ready for Halloween. It's everything else in all of it. To be able to disconnect from the speed of this life, because this is why people are saturating themselves with things that are toxic for their bodies. Because we've forgotten that we are actually in control of the momentum we decide to bring to our life. Is this pace conducive for peace? Is this pace conducive for physical healing? Is this pace conducive for creating a good marriage? Is this pace conducive for happiness and joy? That's why we want to pack a punch in that joy and find a way to take us to joy that's synthetic. Because we need to pack it in that 1 hour we gave ourselves, and then now we have to go back to the busyness of this crazy life. But I have a memory that I had to check with my mom today, because it's popped into my life all my life. But I have this memory of camping down in the Havasu Falls, which is at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. We'd backpacked down there a few times in my childhood. And we were camping right at the foot of the Havasu Falls, in literally the midst of this massive, powerful waterfall. It literally goes all over this campground. It's by far the most beautiful place on the planet. But you have to hike, and you have to work really hard to get down there. And as little kids, there was never a question if we were in the mood for it. We were just going to be packing up and going down there. And trust me, after we did it once, I was like, oh, I don't want to go back to the Havasu Falls because that hike is just such a bummer, and it's so hot. It's just hot there. But then we'd get down there, and it was magic. But I have this memory of my mom and I sleeping under the stars down in the Havasu Falls. And that particular night, my dad was sleeping in the tent with my 2 brothers. And in the dream, I thought it was my memory till I talked to my mom this weekend. She and I were sleeping underneath the stars. And before we knew it, somebody was sitting at our heads, like sitting at the heads of us. And it was just pure terror. Like, the memory for me is just pure fear in this dark campground, which was filled with people, but you're pretty far apart. And the adrenaline level of this huge man, like, it was just an energy, was sitting there. And in this memory of mine, I like snuck down in my sleeping bag to kind of like get like a vibe of what is sitting at my head. And it was just this massive Native American with this long hair just sitting there. And I'm just, the heart is like going out of my chest in my memory, and I remember saying to my mom, there's a man sitting up there. And she goes, be quiet. Be quiet. And I'm thinking, this dude's gonna like kill us, you know what I mean? I mean, you're like a little kid. I mean, and she's saying, be quiet, be quiet. And the fear, like the memory of the fear of it. And then we happened to be in the campground that there was a natural spring coming down the rock right at the edge of our campground. So people tended to go through our camp spot to fill their canteens with water. It was late at night, and finally somebody came to go fill their canteen, and their flashlight appeared. And my mom and I stood up and ran to the tent. And I asked my mom about this. And she said that never happened. And I'm like, dude, that happened. You know, so we could bank this on maybe she doesn't remember, because children remember different things than parents remember. And, you know, my kids mention things now, even at this phase. And I'm like, that did never happen. They're like, yeah, that did happen. But then I started this cleanse fast thing last Monday. And you know how your dreams get really vivid when you're detoxing, all sorts of lovely stuff. And I had a dream on Tuesday night. And in my dream, this huge Native American was sitting at my head. And there were no words. I literally have chills just blowing through my body right now. The validation of that experience as a child, but this time there was no fear. This was somebody I've interacted with so many times, I realized, my whole life. But I haven't physically had a memory of the dream, but there was a knowing. You've been with me my whole life. I don't know if it's an ancestral family member from way back when, since we have a major Native background, or what. But what the message was how I started this talk is, you are not of this world. But it was without words. You are not of this world. You are in the world, but you are not of this world. And he was showing me through a visual the pace that life is going at right now. And he was showing me stepping out of the pace of the world and watching it still going on, and it's still going on, but you don't have to be in the midst of the pace of the world, which is something I needed to hear really badly. I've been super busy, super overwhelmed, actually. And this message was clear and palpable. I woke up with a sense of, oh, that's right. I am so not alone in this. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in my life. I'm married to the right person. My children are healthy. My life is perfect, but I'm not allowing myself to enjoy this life. I'm putting way too much pressure on myself. And I'm not the type that likes to put pressure on myself. I am like fun at all costs. My nature is play at all costs. It always was. And my dad always says that, like, you were the kid that like got away with everything. Because it was like, I would consider to myself as a little child, is this worth getting spanked over or not? I used to do that all the time, and it was like totally worth getting spanked over, because I would rather, the curiosity was like, I'm going to do it regardless. And I didn't get spanked very often. And then sometimes I would be getting spanked, and I'd say, I didn't do it. My dad would say, that's because if you didn't do it, this is for all the times I didn't catch you. And it was like nothing. It wasn't like it hurt or anything. And it made sense. I was like, okay, That totally makes sense. All the times I didn't get caught, because the curiousness of me was just radical play. And he's like, so it's so weird that you signed up to have all these kids and to run this church and like go after a life like this when it was so not in your nature as a child. But maybe I was getting it out of my system maybe as a kid, but I can do both. We all can. We are still allowed to play. We are still allowed to not take life so darn seriously. Yesterday, my kids were getting dressed up for Halloween with their friends, and I found this safe neighborhood that Michelle, who runs our Sunday school, lives in, and the neighborhood kind of just came together to make sure that everything was safe, how they did COVID and the whole bit, and all the candy was out on tables, and nobody touched the candy, and like the whole weirdo world we live in right now. But anywho, and I'm just kind of sitting around watching them all get ready, and they're all like so excited, and I'm kind of just like sort of dreading that I have to go out and do this, just because I'd rather just kind of stay home and stay focused on my sermon the night before. And I thought, well, that's really lame. Because I used to be a lot of fun. And I had no costume to wear. So I went down into our Christmas boxes. I went to Mike's closet, first of all, because he has all sorts of radical, weird T-shirts and stuff. And he had an actual T-shirt that has, like, Santa Claus's jacket on it. So I put that on, and I started there, and then put big pigtails on, and then I found Christmas ornaments to hang, and then I painted my face all weird, and then I found this funny bird ornament, and I wore it as a necklace. And I was having so much fun just doing this stupid costume I was putting together, and when I appeared to my kids, they lit up like a Christmas tree, literally. So happy that I joined them in the fun. So I ask you to make an intention to bring more fun, to feel the unhealed feelings, because when we move emotions through our body, I'm a dancer, so I just dance my emotions through my body. I dance 3-4 times a week. That is my life. But what is the thing that's a creative outlet to get the things out of your body? Because sometimes we can't do it through words. We got to move it. We got to play our guitar. We got to sing it. We got to dream it. We got to be it. We got to act as if we already got it. And then you will have it. Remember that you have spirit guides. Visit them often. Speak to them before you go to bed and ask for strength to overcome this thing that's nagging you that you know you need to change. And make a commitment to yourself and watch how easy it is. Thank you.
Well, it's that time we get an opportunity to give, knowing that it is in giving that we receive on every single level. So this is a good time. These 10 days or whatever it is in this time of transformation, we can look at ourselves and say what it is we're giving out most of the time, not just financially, but what are we giving out mentally, physically, spiritually, in relationship to everything around us. And we can get in touch with what Santisha is telling us. We can find our way to release a lot of the limited things that we've been involved with that keep us from feeling good. And the whole object of life is to finally learn how to feel good. Because when you feel good, you feel God. And that's what life is really all about. So we received a beautiful message, some beautiful insights. You should know this, though, going away today, that Santisha as a child was a menace to life everywhere. Okay? And she didn't get very many spankings. But the chaos she created in our lives is memorable. All right, so we have freely given all this stuff, these opportunities, this beautiful talk, the insights from it. So all of you watching on screen, we have up here a number of ways that you can make a donation to Unity of Boulder so we can continue our ministry. Our ministry isn't just about these Sunday services. It's about the services we do during the week as well, and about the counseling that we do, and about the visitations that we do, and about the phone calls that we take, and about all the administration that's required. We just had a huge heating, air conditioning unit go out completely. We have no heat in the office area at all right now, and that's going to cost a pretty penny to have this huge main motor replaced. But anyway, things just keep happening. We're in this ministry. So we ask you to think about that, because when you make this offering, make it from your heart, and it'll bless this particular organization, Unity of Boulder, as well as bless you. So as we take our offerings to mind what it is we'd like to give, let's bless it with this offering statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. I'm going to say it again so we can just take it into our hearts. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. Okay. Oh, you need it? Okay, just bring it over. I want to see you try to do this.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm pretty tough.
All right.
And you have many talents.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today. And I like that thing about play. Don't forget about play. It's been a serious time, so we're going to play for you right now.
And in case anybody doesn't know, Stephen Hoffman, we didn't quite introduce you today, but we're so glad to have you back. And your friend Al Hager, I knew that, on mandolin. That's my husband Jarrett over there. Jarrett Williams on the stage for the first time. I'm Nicole Williams, and you know the rest of these guys. So hit it.
And I want to thank the band. It's been great playing for you this year in 2020, and we'll see you soon. Sometimes the world got me on my knees. much. You all have a great day. Happy November 1st. Thank you.
Thank you.
We want to let you know that we have prayer partners available to you at the end of the service. And Steve, he's got the prayer cloak on him. And if you want to pray, just stay seated and he will come and find you and pray with you. And I didn't get to this point, but I wanted to talk about Earth's remedies here to support you as you face change and growing your spiritual being. Young Living has peace and calming oil, joy oil. Rescue Remedies, huge. We don't carry this in the office, but we do carry these. To keep this on your nose, it will keep you at a higher state of consciousness, battling the ego that wants to tell you that you have to do this thing that you no longer want to do. And also, for people that are having issues with alcohol, a friend of mine discovered this and it worked for her. It's a Chinese remedy. It's called Kudzu, K-U-D-Z-U. And you can get it at Vitamin Cottage or anywhere. And if you're having stress, like every night, whenever you would normally do your substance, this is also for drugs, you take this vitamin, it's supposed to completely calm you and get you out of that fight or flight. I just want to support everybody to be the whole powerful beings that you are, because you deserve it and you've got this. All right, we're going to all rise and close with our closing benediction. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm home and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo! Have an awesome week.
Okay. Vote.